So Rishi Sunak has scripted history and he's all set to become the next Prime Minister of Britain. And at the age of 42, Rishi Sunak will be the youngest British Prime Minister in its modern history. Now, Rishi Sunak also addressed his fellow Tory members of Parliament at the Conservative headquarters in London. And he, remember, is the first person of British Indian origin who will be heading the government at 10 Downing Street. Now, his contender Penny Mordaunt dropped out of the Tory leadership race just minutes before the deadline was to be announced. She did not get the support of 100 members of Parliament, which was needed to be in the running. Therefore, 1922 committee chairman Graham Brady confirmed that Rishi Sunak is now the leader of the Tory party and by virtue of that, the next Prime Minister of Britain.
She has led with dignity and grace through a time of great change. I'd like to pay tribute to Liz Truss for her dedicated public service to the country. She has led with dignity and grace through a time of great change and under exceptionally difficult circumstances, both at home and abroad. I am humbled and honoured to have the support of my parliamentary colleagues and to be elected as leader of the Conservative and Unionist Party. It is the greatest privilege of my life to be able to serve the party I love and give back to the country I owe so much to. The United Kingdom is a great country, but there is no doubt we face a profound economic challenge. We now need stability and unity, and I will make it my utmost priority to bring our party and our country together, because that is the only way we will overcome the challenges we face and build a better, more prosperous future for our children and our grandchildren. I pledge that I will serve you with integrity and humility, and I will work day in, day out to deliver for the British people.
And while backing out of the contest, Penny Mordaunt said that she's in fact very proud of the campaign that she ran and she's called this decision historic, adding that Rishi Sunak has got her full support. Now, according to reports, it is expected that Rishi Sunak will formally become the Prime Minister by as early as tomorrow. The ex-Chancellor gained the support of well over half the Tory members of Parliament, with Mordaunt struggling to reach the 100 Member of Parliament threshold. Rishi Sunak will become Britain's first person of British Indian origin. And also our correspondent Alex Isaac has been tracking the story very closely for us and has sent us this report. Listen in.
We understand that he is due to Buckingham Palace later today, and then we will see the resignation of Liz Truss. So she will have to put her resignation to King Charles III, and then he will announce Rishi Sunak officially as the new Prime Minister of the UK. So that's what we're expecting, but we don't expect that today. At the moment, obviously, Rishi Sunak has spoken to his MPs, and then he had gone to the Conservative HQ as well to discuss what he wants to change and what he wants to focus on going forward. And what we understand is that he doesn't want to be calling a general election before the next one is up, and he wants unity. So he has been asking his MPs to stand by him and to move forward, and he's going to be trying to put some policies in place that will at least try and unite some of the parties. Yes, it was held in private, but we do understand that there was a lot of cheering and banging on desks as he entered the room and while he was having his speech as well. So from listening, it's clear that these people are backing him, the MPs are ready to back him. What we understand, what was said, was again regarding the unity. It's about putting the country forward, and that's what he was making sure that everyone was speaking about, and that he wanted to put that person forward. He is that person to unify the party itself, and he did ask everyone to stand by him and as they move forward. And as I said, be a general election. So that's put some people's minds at rest as well. So it's all about now moving forward. And he did say that he wants everyone to move forward together.
And I also, a little while back, spoke with senior British journalist Nicholas Nugent, and this is what he had to say about Rishi Sunak now emerging as the leader of the Tory party and by virtue of that becoming the next Prime Minister of Britain.
Absolutely, yes. And you talk about the markets recovering. I think the other market we have to keep our eye on is opinion polls in the country, because unusually he's become Prime Minister without a general election, the second new leader to take over, at a time of very considerable disarray within the Conservative Party and indeed within the country. And I think the message I'm getting from the overwhelming vote that he got from fellow Conservative members of Parliament is, we got this one wrong last time, now let's put in place somebody that we trust to a greater degree. And of course, Rishi Sunak has been the Minister of Finance or Chancellor of the Exchequer for nearly 3 years. So he has a very good track record, especially bringing the country through the pandemic by introducing tax incentives to restore the economy. So that's really a big thing that he has going for him, which of course Liz Truss's administration didn't. So not only the Conservative Party, but I think the country at large have a high degree of confidence in him in restoring the stability to our politics, but most of all, stability to the economy and the markets. So he comes with a lot of goodwill behind him. And although there is clamouring for a general election by the opposition parties, if we have to, I think their attitude is, if we have to continue to be led by a Conservative leader, we've now got the right one. That's how I'm interpreting the message given by the votes today. My personal opinion is that he won't have any trouble lasting till that time, because the country don't want a new change of leader. I think the more pertinent question is whether he can lead the Conservatives back to victory in 2 years' time, assuming the election takes place when we expect. And there, I think there's a very big question mark, because the gap between the Conservative Party and the Labour Party on the opinion polls has widened enormously during the past 5 weeks or so. That's to say, if we had an election tomorrow, the Labour Party would romp home and form a government, and most Conservative members of Parliament would lose their seats. In other words, they would be absolutely trounced at the election. But I would also propose the notion that if anybody has a chance of restoring Conservative fortunes before that election, it's Rishi Sunak, because the fall came during, well, firstly during Boris Johnson's tenure and then during Liz Truss's tenure. Now we have a new man, and provided he plays his cards very well, especially as regards the economy, I think he's going to close that gap very considerably, and he will take the Conservative Party into the next election. Whether the party will win that election is much more questionable, but I think he won't have any problem staying in office for 2 years. Yes, and I'm going to give credit here to Boris Johnson, and many people don't have much good to say about Boris Johnson at the moment, but he did bring a lot of non-British origin people into his cabinet. It was the most diverse cabinet we've ever seen, and of course Rishi Sunak was one of those. So Boris Johnson paved the way for us to get over whatever lingering questions we might have about appointing somebody of non-British origin. Having said that, Rishi Sunak is more British than I am in a way. He was born and bred in Britain, and he spent his whole life in Britain. So he's absolutely British despite that Indian origin. And there's been a lot of discussion today about this being the first non-white Prime Minister to take office, and indeed it is. But we have, as has been pointed out, it's not the first non-Christian to take office, because we have had a Jewish leader in Benjamin Disraeli, but that was a long, long time ago. So I hope this means we're entering the modern era in which skin colour doesn't count, but intelligence does, because in my personal opinion, that's why Rishi Sunak won. He showed he was so much more intelligent and had a much greater command of the things that matter, notably management of the economy, than any of the other contenders. And that's why I think he's there. And I wish him well. And of course, it's a very nice touch that he is elected to that position on Diwali. So Indians can celebrate as well.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.